If the Philadelphia Eagles win, this has to happen. If the Kansas City Chiefs win, this has to happen. And then identify two X factors, one for each team. So let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. I talked about how talented they are. I talked about the premier talent that they have at every level. They are a team builder's dream when it comes to the way that they've stockpiled the talent on their roster. They have done a great job of drafting and developing young players. They have been patient with those players and then thrust those guys into prominent roles. You think about the work that they've been able to do with Jalen Carter on defense, Nolan Smith on defense, Jordan Davis showing up. They've done great with those guys in terms of quickly developing with a plan. You think about them throwing in Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell immediately jumping in and playing really well. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson coming over and being a playmaker on that unit. The offensive line has been set for years, but they continue to just find the right pieces to work. Mekhi Becton being a guy that has worked for them. At quarterback, they took Jalen Hurts when everyone thought he was a throwaway as a dual threat quarterback who wasn't a polished passer. They stuck with him as part of their premise to build a quarterback factory in Philadelphia, despite having an MVP-worthy quarterback in Carson Wentz. The development has enabled them to have a big-time quarterback who is okay playing his role, whether that's as the scoring point guard or as the pass-first distributor that gets the ball to the playmakers and takes a back seat. He's willing to do that. They made a wild and bodacious trade to get A.J. Brown after taking a big-time player in Devontae Smith to pair them up to give them the weapons and firepower they need on the perimeter. This team is loaded. And so when you have a team that's as loaded as that, I'm going to make it simple. The Philadelphia Eagles win if they play a clean game. Now, it sounds simple. It sounds like basic coach speak. Hey, guys, if we just play clean, we don't mess it up, we're going to win the game. But really for the Eagles, it's as simple as that. They are the superior team. They have the more talent. They have more explosive opportunities based on the players that they have on their offense to be able to get this thing done. The only thing that can trip up the Eagles are the Eagles in terms of turnovers, penalties, negative plays due to blown assignments and mental errors. But if the Philadelphia Eagles play a clean game, they are the better team. Now, can they play a clean game on a bigger stage? 2 years ago when we saw this matchup, the first half, the Philadelphia Eagles were dominating the game. It really wasn't until Jalen Hurts' fumble, the only turnover of the game, changed the dynamic of the game. That fumble, that scoop and score changed everything. Nick Bolt scoops it up, takes it back, gives Kansas City momentum, and then they begin to kind of get into a rhythm, and they eventually overtake the Philadelphia Eagles at the end. But if the Eagles play like that, look, man, it's going to be very similar to the way that Super Bowl looked out. They're going to jump on them. They're going to run through them. Kansas City has had some issues defending the run, but most teams aren't persistent enough to challenge them. Steve Spagnuolo knows the weakness of his defense, so he's going to try and blitz it to shut it down and force the game on Jalen Hurts' shoulders. Jalen Hurts has to respond by being, efficient and effective in the passing game. He doesn't need to be a superstar. He doesn't need to be a superhero. He needs to be efficient and effective in the passing game. Avoid the big mistake. Get the ball to the playmakers. Let the playmakers win. Work and do all the damage on the outside. If they do that, they'll score points. Saquon Barkley needs to continue to be a guy that is heavily involved in the offense. I can tell you now that Steve Spagnuolo is going to make sure that 8-9 defenders are near the line of scrimmage. They're going to be blitzing and coming from all kinds of angles to see if they can contain 26. Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni can get discouraged early in the game if Saquon doesn't pop out, if he doesn't have success early. You need Saquon to be effective late in the game when it's time to run it out. So despite the 0s, 1, 2-yard gains, you got to continue to give the ball to Saquon. To me, this is easy for him. He needs to be at the end of the day, I need to see 25-plus touches. Any combination of rushing attempts and receptions, the number needs to hit over the 25 attempt mark. If he does that, then they have control of the game. They have the game kind of the way that they want it. And moreover, they have a chance to kind of impose their will on the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the more talented team, the Philadelphia Eagles. They just need to play the right way, not beat themselves, And man, they should be able to get it done against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, when we look for an X factor in this game, I spent all of my time talking about the offense because I believe the offense has to be their best defense because you want to play keep away from Pat Mahomes. Just because he's so good and you respect who he is and what he's done in this league, you don't want to give him extra opportunities. That's why I lean so much on the offense. But defensively, this is the job that Vic Fangio has to figure out in terms of how do you contain Pat Mahomes and how do you neutralize or slow down Travis Kelce. Well, one of the ways that you can do it is with a pass rush. So my X factor in this game is Nolan Smith, edge rusher from Georgia, who has really come on like gangbusters this year. A lot of the attention has been on his teammate, Jalen Carter, who's a Pro Bowl player, all-pro caliber player, who is disruptive, nearly unblockable on the inside. Well, all of that attention is going to create one-on-one matchups on the outside. And the reason Nolan Smith is intriguing because he may have a matchup against Joe Thuney on the outside, who could be playing left tackle. If Thuney's on the island by himself, a guy that's used to playing guard, playing tackle, there could be some sack opportunities on Pat Mahomes. And at the worst, if you don't sack him, you can change the launch point and you can make him throw under duress. That's why Nolan Smith has to be a big part of it. As Vic Fangio decides how he wants to play this game out, does he want to double Travis? Do they want to play a zone where they play extra attention to Travis and concede yards to the other guys? Regardless of what it is, he is going to depend on his front four to get the job done. I know that Jalen Carter is going to show up, but if Nolan Smith shows up, things are going well for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs because, boy, everybody hates the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't tell you how many people on my Twitter timeline hit me up saying they're so over the Chiefs. They're tired of seeing them winning. They want to see somebody else win. And I understand it. There's a little Chiefs fatigue. You've been to the Super Bowl 5 times in 6 years. People don't want to continue to see you have that level of success. You didn't throw in the celebrity circus that tends to happen when you have Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce living a very public relationship. It can be problematic. But make no mistake about it, the Kansas City Chiefs are here because they mastered the art of winning. And in mastering the art of winning, they are, sticklers for winning in the margins because of their superb attention to detail, because of their flawless execution in key moments. This is a team that knows how to steal games. When I was a kid, Sherry Leonard was very similar to the Kansas City Chiefs in terms of the way that, it wouldn't always go his way, but he knew how to finish the last 30 seconds of each round. And how many times did he win the fight? Because he was able to kind of put together a flurry of punches at the end that influenced the judges to make the round go his way. The Kansas City Chiefs are very much like that. They don't win the entire fight, but they give you enough flashes where they end up winning the game. That's how they've won the past 2 years. That's how they continue to win in the postseason. They don't dominate from beginning to end, but they got enough, I would say, knockout power to knock you out of there when you give them a chance. This is why they're so dangerous, is because they can win any style game. They are very comfortable winning any type of game. And they have a quarterback who is the ultimate finisher in the fourth quarter and in overtime. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to have to step out the box a little bit, though, to win this one. They've been comfortable being able to hold the score down defensively. Chris Jones and that crew have done a great job of keeping some of these high-powered offenses under wraps. That said, this is the most explosive and the most dangerous offense that they faced this year. This offense is dynamic because they can hit you right in the face with a running game. Jalen Hurts can make enough plays on the outside to prevent you from loading up on Saquon, and their offensive line is top-notch. We can talk about some of the other teams that they face, whether it's the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens. The Eagles are more complete than both of those squads, which is why they're here. The problem that you have when it becomes that is this game could become a shootout. And if it becomes a shootout, are the Kansas City Chiefs explosive enough to go point for point with the Philadelphia Eagles? That's why I say that the Kansas City Chiefs will win if Pat Mahomes and company hit 30-plus points on this game. This will not be a low-scoring game. I can't see this game being a 17-13 game just based on the way that both of these teams have played. If I'm Andy Reid and Matt Nagy, we have to put up a game plan that we got to hit the 30-point mark to have a chance of winning because the Eagles are going to score. And they're going to score multiple times. You can't stop them on the tush push. You have a tough time containing Saquon Barkley. No one's really cracked the code on that. So you have to get this offense ready to score 30 plus points. For the Chiefs to score 30 plus points, it will not just be the Travis Kelce show. He cannot single-handedly carry them to 30 points. He may have 12 catches. He may go over 100 yards. But how many of those catches are going to be impactful? That is why we have to pay close attention to Marquise Hollywood Brown. We got to pay attention to Xavier Worthy, because those are the guys that could be the difference makers in this game. Their ability to produce big plays, explosive plays on either vertical throws or catch and run plays really makes a difference for this offense. Moreover, if Pat Mahomes is protected, the double moves, the deep crossing routes, the things that they were able to do when Tyreek Hill was in the building, they can do those again with Xavier Worthy and Marquise Brown on the field. Remember, Hollywood Brown missed most of the season. He wasn't available. It's one thing to have one deep threat. It's another to have two. They now have two guys back on the field that can threaten the defense. It's not a coincidence that they hit 30 points against the Buffalo Bills with Hollywood Brown being back. Their best way to knock out the Philadelphia Eagles is to engage in a shootout with Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy going crazy. Because as much as everyone will pay attention to Travis Kelce, he can hurt you with the nickels and the dimes, but man, he certainly doesn't produce those big plays that are like quarters and dollars on the market. You got to make sure that you take care of Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy to prevent them from having the splash plays that really lead to points and flip the field from an offensive perspective. If I have to name an X factor, look, man, it's going to be one of those guys, and I'm going to say Hollywood Brown is the X factor. And the reason Hollywood Brown is the X factor is because it's all about the explosive plays, and some of those plays may be on gadgets and tricks and those things where you're trying to get it to your playmakers in space. Xavier Worthy has occupied that role the entire season. You have to think that with 2 weeks to prepare, they're going to be on X every time he goes. You know they're going to try and find a way to take care of Travis Kelce. That leaves Hollywood Brown with some favorable opportunities, particularly if an injury keeps Quinyon Mitchell out and they have to put some of the backups in on the corner. To me, Hollywood Brown shaping up to be the X factor that everyone feared when he kind of made the move there. So now let's go down to it. Who are we going to pick? This is hard because my head tells me that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to find a way to win. And the reason why is because they've been here so many times. They know the formula. It's not too big for them. It reminds me of the Patriots dynasty when we see Tom Brady lead inferior teams to championships, because once they get into the tournament and the final stages of the tournament, they know what is needed to be done to win it. That's how I feel about the Kansas City Chiefs. My heart goes with the Philadelphia Eagles because, look, they're the more talented team. I expect them to be able to light it up. But there's just something about the Kansas City Chiefs that prevents me from making that move. Maybe it's the Swiftie in me. Maybe it's just wanting to see greatness, a three-peat done. But in this one, as much as I want the Philadelphia Eagles to win, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Chiefs win 34-31 on a walk-off with the confetti falling down.